For even more Atari fun, head over to Atari.io. It's Atari-tastic. Deep Scan from Sega Gremlin. Now this is a game that I remember seeing in the early 80s. I actually saw it in a hotel lobby back in the early 80s when my family went down to the Kennedy Space Center in Florida to visit that place. And the hotel we stayed at had a Deep Scan game in their hotel lobby along with some other games. You know, back then in the early 80s, you would see arcade games all over the place in grocery stores and pharmacies, bowling alleys, movie theaters, which you still do, and hotels would actually have little arcades as well. And I remember seeing this game in the corner as we was checking in. Of course, back then, and even now, I was pretty crazy about arcade games. So once we got checked into the room and everything, I got some quarters from my mom, and I ran down to the lobby to give this game a try. Now, I'm a big fan of games that involve submarines and battleships anyway. Now, I love Seawolf, Depth Charge, some other ones, and this one attracted me mainly because it was of that genre that I really liked. Basically, you're dropping these explosive charges down in the water, trying to hit these submarines, passing back and forth. They have different point values. And one of the neat things about this game was the little scanner you had at the bottom of the screen. You actually see the submarines coming before they actually appeared on the screen, which would help you time your shots to destroy them as soon as they got on the screen to prevent them from getting across and getting away. And of course, they shoot back at you. And the ones that are hardest to hit are the ones towards the surface of the water. They fire a lot of shots all at once, and it's really hard to avoid them. And I really dig how the ship will sink when it gets hit. It's pretty awesome. Pretty cool. Now, of course, they released this game for the Atari 2600 back in the early 80s as well. I think it was like 1983 or so like that. That was right on the edge of me not collecting Atari 2600 games anymore because I discovered automobiles and cars when I got my driver's license and chicks. But I did pick this game up back then. I got it on clearance actually back in 1984 or so during the crash at KB Toy and Hobby for like $1.50 or something like that. And I gave the game a try. It was okay. Actually, it was renamed a Subscan, and the gameplay was changed up a little bit, where now, instead of them firing back at you, you had to prevent TED subs from getting past you across the screen. It still had that little scanner at the bottom, just like the arcade version Deep Scan did, but now you just had to destroy all the submarines before they got away from you. And every once in a while, you would see a bonus submarine appear at the very bottom of the screen that was a different color. And you would bomb that, and you would get bonus points. Now, the bonus points would add up as you destroy submarines, normal submarines. So you wanted to avoid hitting that bonus submarine as long as possible to get the maximum amount of bonus points. It's an interesting game. It's fun. It's not one I go back to play ever so often because it is so slow. It does get faster as you increase in score, but typically either I get killed before I get to the higher levels or I get bored and I go play something else. But it's still a cool arcade port to have in the Atari 2600 collection, especially if you like to collect arcade ports like I do for the 2600. So that's enough talking about this particular game. Let's take a look at the box and what came in the box. Here's the box for Subscan from Sega. Really cool artwork. Very colorful box. I really like this. Looks really good up on the shelf. For use with the Atari Video Computer System and Sears Video Arcade. Nice little spine art there. It's pretty cool. On the back it shows you a nice screen of the gameplay used with a joystick controller. And it has a little story right here on the back of the box, which is kind of cool. Nighttime in the frigid North Atlantic, home of the great white shark, the giant squid, and hundreds of deadly killer subs.
enemy submarines that have embarked on a suicide mission that would deal a death blow to our fleet. And only the captain of one destroyer can stop them now. With an eye on the radar screen and a finger on the trigger, you frantically stream back and forth across the surface, laying down one depth charge pattern after another. The ping of the sonar fills the night. The sound of exploding depth charges fills the ocean as you pick off one submarine after another, hoping you've picked the perfect moment to sink the glowing nuclear subs. Awesome. I love the stories. They're so cool. This is one of those gatefold boxes, which, I like these kind of boxes. Nice little pocket right here to store the instructions. We have our cartridge sitting there, which has the same cool artwork on the front of it as the front of the box did. Pretty awesome. Subscan. Very nice looking cartridge. And of course we have our instruction manual. And it's kind of a huge manual because it folds out also as a bonus poster as well. So as you open it up, we can see our instructions on how to use the controllers, how to play, shows how the viewport works, the bonus sub, or the nuclear sub, our scoring, the sub speeds, as you see, as you increase in point values, the faster the subs go. And of course we have our strategic tips, which I like reading these every once in a while. Your main mission is to hit all the subs. Miss 10 and the game is over. That's right, you miss 10 subs, game over, man. Once you've aimed a depth charge at a particular sub, keep your eye on the depth charge and sub. A shallower sub might cruise in the battle scene or run into a previously targeted depth charge. Yeah, that's true. Happening quite a bit. And of course on the back we have another little story here. Now hear this! Now hear this! All hands man battle stations. Enemy submarines have been detected in your waters. You command a destroyer which can launch as many as 4 depth charges at a time. Your mission is to sink as many subs as possible because it's not that simple, because Subscan is more than a shooting match. It's a game of strategy. A battle of wits. Cat and mouse on the high seas between the hunter above and the hunted below. Ooh, that's kind of neat little pixel art right there. But of course, when you open this thing all the way up, you have a nice poster, which is basically the box art that you can hang on your wall. Pretty neat. I kind of like that. Of course, I never did hang mine on my wall. I kept all my stuff, in the box. And then a few years later, I went through the madness and I sold off, all my Atari 2600 stuff pretty much. And the rest of it pretty much got stolen when I moved. But anyway, at least I'm getting some of the stuff back I used to have. So another arcade port added to the old collection. Pretty nice game. If you guys have this game in your collection, what do you think of it? Is it just as boring and slow for you as well? I know some people like this game. I kind of like the game. I like most games on the 2600. But this one, it's not what I go to play very often. But it's still cool to have in the collection. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching.